respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it.
Yeah.
But I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it sets. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think, for many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever.
Sick of them comparing the two and saying they are the same. Talking about what they did with Trump and all the lawfare that he had to endure. And they're saying this is the same thing that the Justice Department did to Biden. First, a lie is a lie. And secondly, is it the same?
It's definitely not the same. The problem that they have is they're grasping at straws. And in that grasping at straws, they're paralleling apples and oranges. Well, they're both fruit. At this point, they're going to, well, they're both men, so it's the same thing. The truth of the matter is, very clearly, the DOJ went after Donald Trump because of who he is. They refused to go after Hunter Biden until we ratcheted up the political pressure so high, they had no other choice. They dragged their feet. They moved heaven and earth to make sure that he didn't get any quote unquote serious charges. And they knew that he was going to be pardoned. They assumed that it was going to be Kamala. They assumed that she was going to win and she would pardon him. And then the Biden family would go off happily in the carriage somewhere and commit crimes internationally as they've continued to do. But it didn't quite work out that way. So do we sacrifice Hunter? Do we sacrifice the guy who has all of our secrets, who knows where the bodies are buried, who we know would turn your ass in for an 8-ball?
Yeah.
For a line of Coke. This is a guy, make no mistake, that would sniff a line of Coke off of a baby's ass for $5. This dude has no morals. He married his brother's wife. I mean, got a baby with a prostitute that his daddy won't recognize. This is a soap opera that should have been written by Tyler Perry. This does not seem like the first family of the United States. There is no comparison. Absolutely no comparison of some trumped up, quite literally trumped up charges levied by the state of New York, levied by the state of Georgia, with people with political axes to grind. This is Biden's own DOJ. This is his son behaving badly. As a parent, I understand sometimes your children get so far ahead of you and you're like, okay, look, I've had enough of your stuff. You need to come and sit down. But Joe didn't say that. What Joe did is he helped him in his criminal enterprise.
Absolutely.
There's got to be a reckoning at some point. If it's not Joe, if it's not Hunter, if I was Kash Patel and I got the investigative force of the FBI behind me, I'd lock Jill's ass up if she had something to do with it. I'd lock up all the wives, all of them. There would be a reckoning for what they have done. There has to be.
And Whoopi said that Biden didn't lie. Take a look at this. This is clip 4.
Was your son able to get a fair trial? Do you believe the Justice Department operated independently of politics? And for President...
Let me answer your question and you ask his question, okay? With regard to the first question, it is clear that the near abroad, meaning just across the line of the border with Russia and Ukraine, that it makes a lot of sense for Ukraine to be able to take out or combat what is coming across that border. In terms of long-range weapons, longer-range weapons into the interior of Russia, we have not changed our position on that sort. With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
There we go.
Well, yeah, Joe is his biggest enabler. Okay. Keeps saying Hunter's the smartest guy he knows. Joe, you really need to meet some more people.
Decent is the word you use. Yeah, decent.
Yeah, I mean, this is just dysfunction, all right, at a very high level. Look, this is a family that said, to hell with this guy's condition, all right? We know, look, you're running Metro Conservative Media. Would you hire Joe Biden to do anything for your company? Okay. Nobody would hire this guy. I wouldn't even
trust him. I wouldn't trust him around my pet roach. Do you understand me? I wouldn't trust him around anything.
I know that's right, KJ.
That's right. And I mean, yet his own family, for the sake of money and power, they wanted to keep him. They knew he wasn't fit back in 2020. They knew that. The country knew it. But yet, you've got a wife who cares about money and power. That's what the family cares about. Everything else be damned.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
First of all, I want to know who the hell told Whoopi she can tell somebody what word to say or what word not to use. I mean, for real. I would have just said la, 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 la. I mean, who the hell does she think she is? Don't call it that. Whatever. That's what it was, and that's what it is. That's number one. Number two, not only are her parallels and her comparisons inaccurate, she failed to realize or failed to mention that all of these charges that Trump has been charged or convicted for started when he came down the damn escalator. But from the media to the other politicians, certainly The View, anybody else, the New York Times had it out for him. They trumped up, like Nicole said, trumped up charges from the Russiagate to him, peeing on prostitutes or whatever the case may be over in Russia. It was all trumped up until now we get to these 34 convictions. 4 years after he left office when they started these charges, because he said he was going to run again. So all of these things, there's no comparison, not to mention Joe Biden, some of the same charges with the documents and not the presidential documents. He didn't get charged. I mean, he had him next to his Corvette, little red Corvette. I mean, Prince should be doing a dance in heaven, whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, these people are, again, all they want are power and control. They don't care. They will not look at themselves. They still haven't looked at themselves since the election. They can't believe Trump won. So now anything that comes up for the Biden family or anyone else on the left, they're going to say, look at Trump. He's really a convicted felon in the White House, and all the other maybe schemes or scandals that could go along with some of his nominees, right? They don't want to take any personal stock, if you will, personal or professional stock, to say, hey, you know what? We really messed up. We went after somebody without course, without any kind of credibility. We just did it because we did not like his politics and we did not like him. That's it. They
wanted to grift. And they wanted to grift.
Yeah. All this to say, no wonder Americans don't trust our government anymore, right? We don't trust many, if not all institutions, medical, political, religious, whatever, scientific institutions. We don't trust them. And yes, on that clip, that same View clip, a little bit earlier, Sonny admitted, well, yeah, there are two systems of justice, basically. There are two. Americans have been knowing that and saying that for years.
I have that clip here. This is clip 10 of Sonny saying that. Take a look.
I think sometimes, unfortunately, in this country, there are two sets of justice, right? I, too, have many family members convicted of felonies, related to marijuana. They haven't been able to get positions in certain places. They haven't even been able to get housing in certain places. When I applied to be a federal prosecutor, there was a checkbox. If you're a felon, explain the circumstances, and you were more than likely not to get that. Now, as Whoopi said, that we have a convicted felon in the White House, those questions should not be asked of anyone, anytime, anywhere. That is the bottom line. That policy needs to be changed.
The other thing is, I mean, Trump did escape responsibility for all his crimes. He's nominating Charles Kushner, who he pardoned, as you mentioned, as the ambassador to France. Do you know what a nice, cushy job that is that any felon would like? And, you know, so please, with the hypocritical pearl clutching by this country, Eric Holder, I think, said it really well. No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts that have been investigated for 5 years. Less than, get this, 0.09% of people are indicted, prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of lying on a gun form. The only reason that Hunter Biden was gone after and charged, indicted, and found guilty was because his name wasn't Joe Smith, it was Hunter Biden.
Look, Sonny brings up a couple of idiotic points, which she is want to do. Listen, they're trying to, a lot of people say, oh yeah, you should take this off of the applications. Look, if you smoked a joint and got locked up for it, sure. But no, you can't blanket take these questions off of a job application. I doubt if Sonny would be okay with them taking it off of the production crew of The View. So, okay, guy gets out of federal prison for murdering his whole damn family. All right. And now he's a key grip on the set of The View. Okay. So come on. They go so hyperbolic with their reasoning. It just doesn't make any sense. The other thing is, look, in terms of the type of justice in the short term that the Bidens are going to see, raised this a few minutes ago, that whole grift is over. And if you look at the Biden's finances, they are heavily mortgaged. Okay. No one's, Joe's not going on the lecture circuit, okay, and playing that game like the Obamas and the Clintons. That ain't happening. Nobody wants to hear from Biden. Plus, you never know what he might say. So that's not happening. He's not writing any books, and he might get someone to give him a few dollars for the rights to some book, but he's a public figure. You really don't need it, right? So the money and the influence, gone. You're not a senator, you're not vice president, and you ain't president. Ask Hillary Clinton how that worked out for them with the Clinton Foundation, which donations dried up after 2016. So, you know, that's a point that we will get some justice, knowing that Joe's going to be up in Delaware eating hot dogs and beans if he lasts, too much longer. Okay. So we do have that.
I got one, Tyrone. Since Sonny wants to take all these things off the form, let's go further. How about we don't even ask people about background checks when they go to purchase firearms? I mean, why not?
Oh, hey, I'm for that.
I'm for that too. Why not? I bet she wouldn't like that though, right? That would, that would never stand.
Right.
I mean, I feel like whoever purchases The View, because I don't think ABC will keep it much longer, should probably ask her some really tough questions. I mean, did she just not publicly confess to having several felons in her family? I don't know if I would feel safe on the set with her. I mean, if I accidentally bumped her in the hallway, or God forbid, drank the last cup of tea that she wanted some, I mean, would I get rubbed out by one of her gangster relatives? There would be a lot of questions. The problem with Sonny is, she's so hyperbolic. It's hard to understand what she's trying to say. And she's very tunnel visioned, right? There's no shades of gray. Everything for her is black and white, unless it pertains to her. And then she's got this whole rainbow, this kaleidoscope of colors. The one interesting thing that she did point out, though, however, is that it was the pearl clutching that's happening. And then you heard Jasmine Crockett say the pearl clutching that's happening. This tells me that the DNC is back up and running. These are talking points, right? So all of the crying has stopped. It is now officially game on, folks. Let's go. We don't feel sorry for this family. We don't feel sorry for, the people are saying, well, it's just dumb Joe, No. This is gamesmanship. We were getting played. They've played what they believe their final piece to this game. And I'm here to tell you, Kash Patel is going to bring some more moves to the board. He's absolutely going to bring some more moves to the board, because I'm telling you, I'm not the only person who says, I can't go after Joe, I can't go after Hunter, but whoever else got $1, I'm coming for you with the full force of the Federal Bureau of Investigations,
Yeah.
the full force of the FBI, the new FBI, not the current FBI.
Right.
The new FBI.
Yeah, you're right, Nicole. And one of the major points that you made that I certainly agree with is how we've seen them using talking points.
Mm-hmm.
This is a massive psyop, like they've done over and over again. Even Joe Rogan talked about it. He was talking about something sort of different, but he said in his podcast, I believe it was last week, that the establishment media has been engaged in a years-long psyop against President Trump.
Absolutely.
To brainwash the American public into believing that he was dangerous. And now they're doing it right now, trying to misinform and lie about the charges against Hunter Biden and how Joe Biden used this pardon. It's the same exact thing. And people are starting to wake up, just like you said, Tyrone, with legacy media. People are starting to wake up. They're watching shows like the Joe Rogan Experience, like us, like Soldiers of Finance. They're watching us because they know that we are trying to pursue the truth.
Right.
We are not trying to run a massive grift on people. And people see it.
We're talking through it. Mm-hmm. We're talking through the problem.
Right,
One of the things that I think that that Americans miss is just conversating with each other. Now the world is kind of flat. Everybody's in their own little space. Having a good conversation with someone, whether you agree or disagree, is good for both sides of the equation. This is why I don't want, an all Republican anything.
Exactly. This is why I said
the public square. The public square is one of the things that made America great. Mm-hmm. I do believe, though, that shows like The View and Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow, all of these shows have so poisoned the minds of some people that there are going to be some people who never make it back over.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I feel like in a war, there are always some casualties. We're going to chalk them up to just done, but we do need to make a concerted effort to make sure that the American public knows the truth, knows that this whole thing about Trump being a dictator, a fascist, a Nazi, a rapist, a thisist, a thatist, that all of that was to keep their eyes on Trump while they were behind the backs doing their dirt.
Yes.
Listen, if you hit the like button enough, I'll buy me some Poppin' Politics glass.
That's right.
After Wonder Woman glass.
Real quick, I want to. Many people watching. I don't know how old you are, but think about the change that has occurred with TV talk shows. You remember Phil Donahue?
Right.
Yeah.
Phil Donahue's show was very intellectual. Okay. Yeah. I'd encourage people, listen, Phil Donahue had Louis Farrakhan on that show. Okay. And it was a damn good interview. It's on the internet. People should go and check it out. But this is what used to be occupying daytime television. Okay. Right. Serious, thoughtful people. And then, later on, it started morphing into Morton Downey Jr. in the 90s and Jerry Springer. Now we have the height of idiocracy, which is The View and shows like it.
What was the Hispanic guy that had the show?
Geraldo.
Yeah,
Geraldo. He got trashy. He had some pretty good interviews.
He did.
Yeah, he did. And then he
fell off.
He started boxing Roy Ennis or something, and it just went to the left.
Yeah, I think when he got hit with that Klansman's chair,
I think that did it.
At him, and he just kind of